Hey everyone, this is part 4, the final part for today for Friday, November 22nd, 2013. Alright, I'm going to continue here with some Haarp news, weather news, and a little bit to follow conspiracy realm. This right here, I'll just cover these two big headlines here from the weatherspace.com. There's severe thunderstorms likely for most of Arizona Friday into Saturday as powerful storm nears. Also, a weekend Arctic blast. This weekend, an Arctic air blast will target the central and eastern U.S. with building surface high pressure. A new front will move through the area at the end of the week, following a building of high pressure, then to this Arizona storm. Severe thunderstorms. A powerful storm will impact the southwest U.S. through Southern California on Thursday and Friday, with severe thunderstorms and maybe tornado threat possible across Arizona on Friday. And as far as the Haarp status for North America, this was done today. 11:22. The current long wave frequency magnitude readings were pretty high for the southwest, and the only one that hasn't had anything, I guess, would be the northeast, which is expecting some kind of big storm and nor'easter over Thanksgiving weekend. And the last reports for the UK and Australia were on 11:18. Pretty low, medium to moderate for regular Europe, and into Australia. You had, same thing. Pretty much nothing in Western Australia, and around medium to eastern, especially in the southern Australia, including New Zealand, were moderate. As far as the chemtrail report goes, like I usually say, you can either pause this and look at this, or you can go to theweatherspace.com. But this is early Friday morning. This is going into afternoon, evening, and then, of course, here's Saturday. I guess what I'm seeing here, just taking a look, is you have almost like 3 different fronts being sprayed. You have the southwest, the northwest, and all of the midwest. And it all just kind of combines into one huge pile of crap and heads over to the northeast, New England, for Saturday and then into Sunday. Then supposedly clears out on Monday. Yeah, we had some pretty crazy weather lately. Nothing like tornadoes heading into the end of November, and the freezing drizzle rain that lasts for hours at a time. But we'll just call that global warming. We'll blame ourselves for it. So they're saying that there's a nor'easter is swirling together, and it could hit the East Coast just in time for Thanksgiving. So that's what you have to be thankful for: is chemtrails being sprayed and Haarp being pulsed and creating something nice and slimy mess for traveling. But if you are traveling and you're traveling by airport, get ready for the detention pods. New detention pods being installed in airports thanks to the TSA. I guess you can blame whoever you want. If you're willing to go through these things, then you kind of just blame yourself. You remove the TSA and they're still going to be there. Get ready to jump through yet another security hoop next time you travel by plane. They're now installing exit detention pods at major airports that were temporarily jail passengers before they are allowed to leave terminals. When you're ready to leave the terminal, you'll be forced into these pods one at a time, and each passenger will remain in the pod until an electronic voice gives them permission to leave and the door opens. After passing through the pod, passengers may not re-enter the terminal without going through security again. Also, if you're driving, be on the lookout for your local revenue collectors. It's also getting towards the end of the month, so it's let's see who can get as many traffic tickets and legitimize our authority over you by writing you tickets and stopping you for DUI checkpoints. That's what I'm talking about. The police, you'll hear that too. You'll hear all that crap out on the radio and the TV. Police will be out in full force to protect the streets for holiday travelers, i.e., local police departments and state sheriffs and county sheriffs are going to exploit a holiday where they know people are going to see their families and vacation or whatever, travel, in order to make money off you. Because it's all about making money off you from the cradle to the grave. Expect a spike in turkey prices this Thanksgiving due to anorexic turkeys. They said they're not making this up from the economicpolicyjournal.com. Butterball, the nation's largest producer of turkeys, has announced that it will be shipping out half as many large, fresh, never frozen turkeys to retailers this year. They say that many of its birds are having trouble gaining weight during the production process. And though the cause of the problem remains a mystery, food distributors say their orders for turkeys 16 pounds and bigger have been slashed in half. 16 pounds is the national average for Thanksgiving holiday turkeys, making this a particularly concerning problem. So you think about it, maybe the feed is more expensive. Maybe they're not using as many growth hormones. But I mean, essentially, really, it would be nice if people could actually hunt their turkeys, or they can meet the people that where they came from and stuff. Butterballs is a huge corporation. Make 41 million turkeys each year, so they're really pumping those guys out. 16% of the entire U.S. market, which makes it 1 out of every 4 turkeys consumed is Butterball. But it's like I said with the hunter, or not the hunter, the fisherman in the last video. It's all about authorizing you to be able to hunt or gather food or fish, right? You have to have a license. You have to go at a designated time. You have to be at a designated place. You have to use designated and authorized, pre-authorized ammunition and, whatever. You want to build a house, you have to do it according to certain specifications, at a certain place, at a certain time. McDonald's tells employees to consider returning holiday gifts to get out of debt. They're back at it again. They told their workers, get a second job. Don't have enough money? Go on welfare. A help site for McDonald's employees reportedly suggests that they return holiday gifts to get out of debt. You may want to also consider returning some of your unopened purchases that may not seem as appealing as they did. So this is like Walmart, right? Like Walmart holding canned food drive for its own underpaid employees. So these assholes at the top, part of my French, at Walmart, McDonald's, taking less money each at the end of the year, so they can go to their condos in downtown or wherever the hell they live. Maybe Walmart, maybe they have ranches or plantations, and you know what I'm talking about, where they'll be sniffing rails of coke with all kinds of prostitutes, high-end prostitutes and stuff like that, and say, "Whoopee, we had a banner year, guys." And it's you, the American worker, who gets up every day and helps support the Ubermensch. And then you'll get these so-called conservatives, these neocons that will pump out this stuff on Fox News. They're chastising Fox News' people for giving to the homeless, saying, "You're an enabler." So many of these people have fallen through the cracks. Like I said before, there's not actually enough jobs to match the people. At least that's how it's made, so that keeps wages low. I've mentioned this many times before. Women entering the labor market back in the day was create tax revenue, more taxes revenue. Also compete in labor, drive down wages. That's what globalization was. It's about creating a robotic labor force, of course, until the robots actually do replace the labor force. Then they don't need you anymore. But it makes the worker highly exploitive. Work is first. If you're pregnant or you have family to take care of, that doesn't really matter. But it's part of the dehumanizing process. Crappy thing about being homeless is that is, like I said, you can't just build your shelter. I mean, if you wanted to build your shelter and you wanted to forage or something like that, I guess you could try to if you go live in the desert or in the backwoods. Some people have done it for years without being caught, and then eventually they get raided by SWAT teams in the middle of the woods, saying that they're cooking up meth, or they're illegal distillery, selling moonshine. But I mean, these are ways people are gonna live, right? They're gonna try to get by. See, they're gonna be a scammer if you're homeless. I'm not saying all these people are, a lot of these people aren't annoying, but it's just like, there used to be people that could live the way they want to live, be nomadic, but they don't leave us much options because there's not much that's really authorized to do that, except for maybe if you're a truck driver or something, traveling salesman. In the conspiracy realm, Brittany Murphy was poisoned by government spooks in revenge for the star-supportive whistleblower, claims her grief-stricken father, 87 years old, claims that her daughter, Brittany Murphy, and her husband were killed for supporting the Department of Homeland Security whistleblower. They claim the U.S. was letting in terrorists over the Mexican border because of lax security, and her backers were put under surveillance. Then Newser puts out this article, did Brittany Murphy accidentally poison herself? So they're saying the evidence points towards her poisoning herself, mixed with rat poisoning, meth, and cocaine. This Cray Deeds, a Virginia state senator, has been stabbed in a Bath County home. The son has been found dead at the scene, but he's in good condition. This was like recently after he was apparently stabbed by his son. Apparently the son killed himself with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So something doesn't make sense. Like I saw in a comment, why didn't he just shoot his dad and then shoot himself? Why did he knife him and then do that? And they said, well, because it's probably got a conspiracy that they go after their kids. Inhofe. Jim Inhofe's son killed in plane crash, says official from November 11th. And October 21st, he said, I probably wouldn't be here if I was insured under Obamacare. The statement itself doesn't really mean much to me, but the fact that he's a big criticizer of Obamacare, for whatever reason, whoever's pushing it, insurance companies, the medical industry, I think both, who helped fund Obama's election and win, I think that they stand to gain. So, whatever, if the left wants to play their thing about, we got to help people, and the right wants to say, this is socialism, it could be that, just speaking out against this could be worth or warrant having your son killed in a plane crash or something else. Another U.S. Navy official suspended in bribery scandal from the 22nd. Another U.S. Navy official has been suspended over ties to a growing bribery scandal involving Navy officials and military contractor. Earlier this month, the Navy's Director of Intelligence Operations and the service's top intelligence officer were also placed on temporary leave at their classified and their access to classified material was suspended over ties to bribery scandal. The implications of these, says here, these people who are responsible for protecting the secrets of the branches of the military in the U.S. raised great concerns over whether the U.S. national security was compromised in exchange for bribes. And if lasers have been created and jets have been created, you don't have to have much of an imagination to figure out that lasers will be strapped to planes and jets, and they will be used to kill people and blow shit up. Air Force seeks laser weapons for next-generation fighters. They released a new request for a high-powered laser weapon that could be mounted on a next-generation air dominance fighter in the post-2030 era. That must be the getting into the post-human era, right? The post-industrial era. U.S. war readiness in jeopardy as pilots flee. Morale is really as bad as I've seen it. A purge of senior officers and degradation of military readiness under Obama's leadership. Says here that they're showing that America may soon be unable to fight and win a war. I've covered this too about the Air Force, and I think it was others too, having problems retaining its pilots, even though they're being offered big bonuses to remain. Talked about drone pilots under a lot of stress in that, PTSD, I guess. U.S. drone strikes a Navy ship by mistake. So is it hacked or what? I don't know. The Navy says an aerial target drone malfunctioned and struck a guided missile cruiser during training off Southern California, causing 2 minor injuries. Did the drone, is it thinking autonomously, independently? I don't know. But remember this, drones off the leash, developing useful drones, or useful weapon system drones that don't violate human rights, presents a challenge for the U.S., basically saying that drones can kill more ethically than humans. The case that this expert professor made was that they would be able to strike their targets more efficiently than, let's say, a human who also would have emotions and be responsible, right? Have empathy. Again, so it's about dehumanizing humans. The next U.S. weapon at sea could be sound waves. The next Cuban Missile Crisis could be resolved through the power of music rather than an armed standoff between nuclear powers military officials. So they believe that sound waves can jump the air gap or hack a machine that is not on a network, paralyzing a ship's control systems. Instead of using Tomahawk missiles, the U.S. could use malicious tones, kind of like Britney Spears against Somali pirates. Said acoustic hacking gives you non-lethal warfare capacity at sea. So U.S. Naval Academy, you know the government knows exactly what they're talking about. It's probably what they're using against the population right now. The government, when I say the government, I mean corporations that run the government for thought control. Electrical signals made up of ones and zeros targeted can override a computer-driven chip or a person's brainwaves. Lucky college students, they begin to get the taste of a super Wi-Fi pulsing through their blood-brain barrier, but I guess they don't mind because most of them are carrying around cell phones anyways. Could be a manned flyby mission to Mars in 2017, 800 million miles, 501 days.